nah, like watching it definitely gave me a different perspective on why he is the way he is, and stuff like that. But I think before, my perception of him was he went crazy. Like, you know, his mom passed, unfortunately, but I feel like he literally went crazy. As sad as it is, I mean, that's kind of the reality of how I thought about it. So yeah, so I would say my perception of him before the documentary was a lot different than now. I see, after watching, I see like why he went through a lot of things he went through, why he thinks the way he thinks. And I'm starting to just be like, yo, like he's not crazy, but he's very different. Yeah. Like he's for one, I think back then he was ahead of his time. Yeah, I'm not gonna say too much yet because we got a lot to get into.
What is going on? What is going on? Another episode number 3 of BTL podcast. I know it look a little different because, of course, I got my main sis, Briyah with me. Today's topic is going to be dope. But for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, welcome to BTL podcast. My name is Markese. Everybody knows me as Kese. I'm super honored to be here for real, for you guys to be listening and tuning into every single episode. But before we get into anything, I definitely want to talk about, our new co-host, right? This isn't just a special guest. This is our co-host, right? The official co-host of the show. So sis, how you feel? Like, I mean, I thought about this and I'm like, I need somebody that I can have like talk game with me. And then I thought about her. She already have a podcast. She already doing her thing. So kind of just introduce yourself, let them know what you got going on and why, you wanted to be a part of the podcasting game.
First, I just want to say I'm honored to be here. When he first said it, I got excited because like I love talking. I love educating. I just love talking. I'm always in some kind of deep conversation. And one time we were sitting in my house and we was talking about, like we could literally be talking about this stuff right now in front of the camera. Like we have so many conversations outside of the camera where it's like, if the camera was rolling, we could really be like educating somebody. We could really be like spitting game into somebody, anybody who's listening. So first I just want to say thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to be a co-host on the BTL podcast. Like I said, I'm honored to be here. I'm happy to be here. Excited to get started.
I think she's gonna bring a very authentic, she's gonna bring something different to the show, you know what I mean? Especially for the audience, for those of you listening, watching, kind of hearing Breezy speak about, some of the things that she possibly went through and just kind of giving her expertise on, business endeavors, music industry, fashion. And speaking about fashion, talk about, your passion for fashion, right? I know that's something that you're passionate about. Talk about that for a little bit.
I don't know. I just love creation. Since I was a kid, I've always been very creative. So I used to draw, just sketch. Then I did like a couple little paintings, but I really was a sketcher. I love sketching. From that, it went to graphic design. So in high school, I loved graphic design. That's what I did for 4 years in high school. But I got to college, I was like, you know what, I want to change it. And I went into the medical field. So I started doing sports medicine because I was an athlete who unfortunately had an injury. So I thought that's what I wanted to do. But now, I'm grown, I'm out of school, out of college, and I find myself still drifting back to the creative stuff. So started back drawing, started back doing graphic design, flyers, logos, photography, editing, anything you name it, anything creative you name, I started doing it.
We just got mad stuff in common, so I just thought it made sense to really have somebody who understands and who's really doing the same things. Yep. So, that's, our new special co-host, so definitely, look out for many more episodes. She's gonna be here, a lot of the times. But today's episode is gonna be pretty interesting, right? I know I got on a Chicago Bulls jersey, because we're gonna talk about Kanye's documentary today, right? I know many people all over the world is talking about this, right? Seeing his documentary, I believe it's only 3 episodes up right now. I think it was released a couple months ago. So if you haven't checked it out, definitely go check it out. It's on Netflix, so you can kind of understand, what we're talking about if you haven't watched it already. But it was very intriguing to me for real, the documentary, right?
Yeah,
and before we even get into, the documentary specifically, I want to just talk about Kanye in general, right? You know what I'm saying? Just him in general. For me personally, I'm not a Kanye fan. I've never grew up, really being a fan of his or idolizing him. But, I like his music. You know what I mean? And, as of recent, he been kind of throwing me off for some of the things he's been doing. I'm gonna be honest. He been throwing me off.
Definitely honest.
He been throwing me off. It's been a little weird. So I've never really been, a big fan of his. But this documentary definitely opened my eyes to a lot. So what I want to ask you for real, because I know you into music and all of that stuff and entertainment, is like, are you even a Kanye fan? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
so I would say I'm a fan of his music. Like he said, I'm not a diehard Kanye fan. Like I'm not like into his life. So for me, like, and I know it's deeper levels to his his sanity. I know it's deeper levels than that. I know it's underlying issues. But yeah, like you said, a lot of things just throw me off. Like it's a lot of things just throw me off. So yeah, I'm a person who I'm a fan of the art. So I'm a fan of his music. I'm a fan of his production. I'm a fan of his beats and stuff like that. So I'm able to separate the music Kanye from the real life Kanye. So to say that, like, yeah, I'm a fan of his music. I like his music. He's a great rapper. He's a dope rapper. But when it comes to like everyday life, like he's a little different. I'm not a person that really like that's going to go to defend him. But he is a great artist. You gotta give it to him.
It makes a lot of sense. Because I really wanted to talk about this because of his impact on everybody, not even just as an entrepreneur too, you know what I mean? Yeah, he does music, he has fashion, but I think his global impact is big enough for us to want to talk about.
Yeah.
And, kind of diving into my next thing, just about Kanye in general. And, I know you say you're not really a fan. Well, I'll say that we're fans. We like his music. He's a good dude. We're a fan of Kanye. Like, we don't have a problem with Kanye. I like Kanye. He's a great dude. Great music. He's an icon in the industry. But before watching this documentary, because I know you watched it, right? It's funny, I'm like, make sure we watch it before the documentary, right? What was it? Yeah, like what was your take on Kanye before the documentary? So like, before all this episodes and stuff, like what was you thinking about him as of today? Like,
in honestly, before the documentary, I was thinking, I miss the old Kanye. The old Kanye was like, bro, like, but nah, like watching it definitely gave me a different perspective on why he is the way he is, and stuff like that. But I think before, my perception of him was, he went crazy. Like, his mom passed, unfortunately, but I feel like he literally went crazy. As sad as it is, I mean, that's kind of the reality of how I thought about it. So yeah, so I would say my perception of him before the documentary was a lot different than now. After watching, I see like why he went through a lot of things he went through, why he thinks the way he thinks. And I'm starting to just be like, like he's not crazy, but he's very different. Yeah. Like he's for one, I think back then he was ahead of his time. Yeah, I'm not gonna say too much yet because we got a lot to get into. But I definitely had a different perception. I would say my perception changed.
Yeah, he's unique for sure. Like he's unique. Like, and I kind of agree with you. Like my take on him before the documentary was like, I miss the old Kanye too. You know what I mean? Like I miss his old music. I miss what he represented before. But after the documentary, it's like he was misunderstood. Yeah, for sure. He was definitely misunderstood, and I think that's a lot of people. But to be able to kind of see it in that light, in terms of like Netflix, a documentary. And what I loved about the documentary was that it was raw footage.
That's what I was just saying. The same thing as
it wasn't like, premeditated or we're gonna like it's raw footage, him in the studio, him, getting in the car accident.
Like people even telling him like you can't record me. Like it's literally real, like it was real life raw footage.
And this is why I really wanted to talk about this, because I know that the documentary has shifted so many perspectives for many people. And you kind of mentioned something about, did you mention him? I think you mentioned his mom. You said something. You said something about his mom. And this kind of leads into what I'm thinking about right now. Like, seeing his mom be so included into what he had going on, that shows how much of an impact parents have on their children. Exactly. You know what I mean? And I think that was a big message in itself, because to be able to see Donda supporting him, right? Knowing his music, knowing his lyrics, really let him know what he could add or whatever the case may be. I feel like that could kind of relate to what's going on in the world today in terms of like parents and really being involved with, their kids. So what is your take on, that kind of comparison? Because seeing Kanye really go above and beyond and having that relationship with his mom is like, I know that there's so many kids who probably did watch that, right? Yeah. Who is, who might not be as close to their mom, but who is close to their mom, who can kind of relate, like, damn, my mom is my number one fan. You know what I mean? Like, I know for me, my mom is my number one fan. She supports me in any way, shape, or form, but it's like, for those who don't have that type of relationship, it's like it can be hindrance. So, like, what do you say to that, like, that relationship aspect for him and his mom,
It was one thing that stood out to me, right? So I feel like one of the reasons that he kind of went Because I don't think he went crazy. I think this was always in Kanye.
Yeah.
But I think one thing that his mom instilled in him, for one, his mom told him that you are great. So she instilled greatness in him. So he always believed in himself, but she also kept him leveled. So it was one time when she said, Kanye, she said, a giant looks in the mirror, it doesn't see nothing.
Facts.
So people might look at him and see a giant, but when you look in the mirror, you don't see a giant, you just see yourself. So she always made him remember, like, yes, like, you're great. You're great at what you do. You're a great artist. So she instilled greatness in him. She let him believe in himself, but she also kept him level. She also told him, like, listen, you're here, but also remember that you're just a regular person. So you're a great artist, but you're still human. You know, you're still human. So I think that's part of the reason why he kind of went crazy. It kind of hurt afterwards. He didn't have that same person to level him out.
That's crazy, man, because I just think about, and I remember the part where they was getting, I think it was the same clip where they was talking, sitting down at the dining table, and she was singing his lyrics. Right?
Yeah.
She was singing one of the lyrics for a song that
he did when he was a kid.
That he did when he was a, well, I think, no, it was a song that he didn't, well, he made it. Right?
Yeah.
But he didn't do it because she was like, this is a song that I always want you to sing, but you ain't singing yet. And she was spitting the lyrics. And I know it's about music, but just kind of, again, relating it to the outside world is like, I can only imagine what that means for another individual to be able to kind of, and whatever you want to do, right? Whether it's entrepreneurship, working a job, to have your mom support any and everything, because she wasn't one of the moms that's like, oh, okay, well, get a job or stop doing music or, let's just go find something else on the back burner. She kept pushing.
Exactly.
And I know how much of an influence that can mean or what that could do for a lot of people, including myself, like really having that support system. I mean, I think that was a message in itself. And that's why I was so inspired by Kanye and just the whole documentary, because it's like, damn, like, I didn't really know you and your mom had this close.
Dynamic.
Like, I didn't know it was that close of a relationship. I mean, it should be because that's your mom, but I didn't realize that. So I think that message in itself is like the parenthood and knowing how much of an impact a parent have on, just your kids, man. And so for those of you listening and watching, it's just like a message in itself to, if you have kids or if you plan to have kids or if you have a relationship with your mom, dad, or whatever.
It's like that's the first relationship.
That support, that support system is important. So ask yourself, who is your support system? You know what I'm saying? Like, who do you have to push you every single day? Like Donda had Kanye. Because that inspired me for a lot.
No, I was gonna say shout out to all our moms. It is Women's History Month, so definitely shout out to the moms who are who are out there holding it down.
The
way she did, because I mean, people look at. I think people also look at the way she passed and say she passed surgery, but at the end of the day, she was his mom. She was his mom. She was his best friend, and a lot of people, especially those who are creative. So like for me, like I said, I'm into graphic designs, I'm into clothes now. Now I'm drawing up clothes and stuff like that. That support that you have from your mom is always, is some people don't have it, and some people might mask that as a it bothers them, but that, if you have that support from your mom, it can take you from level 10 to level 25. And I feel like that's what it did for him.
That's what it did for Kanye,
if he didn't have that, I feel like if he didn't have that the entire time, he probably wouldn't be where he is. So yeah, I definitely
agree with that 1,000%. And another thing I kind of want to mention about, just the loss of his mom, then we're going to kind of move on, from his mom, but is when his mom did pass, right? I think that's where a lot of and this is a big topic as well, mental health, right? When losing your mom. And one thing that I kind of realized and I noticed is that throughout the documentary, or just throughout his life in general, like just from everything we've been seeing on media and all that, it doesn't seem as if he truly grieved.
I was gonna say that too.
Right? It doesn't seem as if like he truly had a moment to grieve. It seemed as if like his way of coping with that was trying to do music or trying to do, the Sunday service or trying to do so many other things. But little did he know, like it wasn't really helping. You know what I mean? So I think, what's your message on that? Being able to kind of deal with losses, because for so many people out here today, who do lose people or going through anything that's traumatic, it's like we got to do a better job of being able to deal with our emotions and really being able to express and be open about what we go through. Because obviously Kanye, he can say what he wants, but he was grieving, bad. He was grieving bad, obviously, because he had a great relationship with his mom. So my message to y'all that's listening and watching is like, if you have something that's truly still hurting you or that's still kind of on your chest, talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Figure out a healthy balance. So what's your take on that part?
I definitely agree that he didn't grieve. I don't think he grieved. I think because I mean, even in the documentary when they talk about it, he was right back to doing shows where they was calling him like, yo, like, you know, it's okay to not be okay, and he was like, no, I'm fine, like, I'm fine, I'm doing. But in reality, him lashing out on people was because he didn't really get a chance to deal with the fact that he lost his mom. So I think for sure, everyone grieves different. I mean, I lost my brother years ago, and I think. So at first I dealt with it. I cried when I had to cry. I didn't speak to nobody when I didn't want to speak to nobody. I dealt with it. But then like it was certain times where people were like, oh, how you feeling? I'm like, I'm just trying to stay strong. You don't have to always be strong.
Right.
Like it's okay to not be okay one day. Like if you're dealing with something like that, like you know your own self. It doesn't mean like, dwell on it for the rest of your life, but also know that it is okay to grieve. And in whatever way you're comfortable with doing it, it's definitely okay to do that. Know that, only you know yourself. Only you have to live in your own in your life. So I would definitely say for the people out there, anybody who's dealing with a loss, try to figure out how to grieve or if it's okay to grieve. Definitely know that it is okay. Because if you don't deal with it now, you might end up.
Catch up.
It's going to catch up, and you might end up like him, where he did certain things where. Yeah, that might have been the real Kanye, but if she was still here, he wouldn't have dealt with it like that, So I definitely want to say just know that it is okay. It is okay to grieve and deal with it the way you need to deal with it.
Definitely agree with that. So shout out for real, shout out to the moms, though. Like, to the moms, even, fathers, whoever that's, taking care of their loved ones. I think that's important. Mom, dads, whoever, shout out to y'all. But more importantly, it is Women's History Month, right?
Yeah.
So shout out to my mothers, specifically for the ladies. But let's kind of shift it a little bit, because I do want to talk about the good things, right? And obviously we speaking about just the documentary as a whole and what we took from it, but let's really point out Kanye and his grind, right? And just like what we really took from this, this documentary, because I look at this documentary and I learned a lot about Kanye. I'll be honest. Like,
yeah, definitely.
I've never really followed him. I mean, I know him, but I haven't really known too much about his life. But watching this documentary, one thing that he showed me is that he is a very driven, motivated, high self-esteem, belief. To see him be a producer, get denied from, Rock Nation countless times, right? To getting into Rock Nation, to them keep putting him on the back burner, and for him to kind of go out there and make his own way, I think that just shows in itself that you are able to get what you want. And before I let you speak real quick, it's like for him, he could have done many things. He could have just stayed low and just waited for Rock Nation to put his, not Rock Nation, Rockefeller, excuse me. But Rockefeller, he could have waited for Rockefeller to put his music out there, whatever the case may be. But what he was doing was he was making his own videos out of his own budget. He going around hosting his own events to get that exposure. So it's like, if you want to do something, you can obviously do it. Because I didn't know it took him that much work to get to where he was. I swear, I just heard his first album, right? The College Dropout. I'm like, oh, Kanye dope. But to see what he had to do to drop it, I'm like, I'm so happy I watched this, because you just inspired me more to go get it. So like, can you agree to that? Like, what you think about that?
I definitely agree with that. One of the things that I took from it was that no matter how many no's he got, he only needed one yes. He actually did in the beginning. He didn't need no yeses. Everyone literally took him as a joke, and no matter how many. That was another thing I wanted to say. No matter how many people took him as a joke as a rapper, he still said, "I'm gonna spit this rap to the next person."
Yes.
Like he went in the studio, he said a rap to somebody, and they said, "Oh, that was nice."
Yes.
But they didn't do nothing about it. He went to the next room. Like he literally, he was in Rockefeller, going in every single room, playing this song for everybody. One girl got on a phone call, like in the middle of him saying it, like he was like, "Yo, like, she take me serious, but go to the next room." He never let that take away his belief in himself. So he said, I know, even when somebody called him the best rapping producer rapper. He said, I'm not a producing rapper. I am a rapper. I am a rapper.
He was like, I am a rapper.
And at first they didn't understand what he's saying, because they was like, no, like you producing, you rap. So I'm just saying, no. He's like, but I don't want to be compared to the producer rappers, because how many producer rappers are there? My end goal is to be a rapper. I want to be compared to the rappers. Man. He said, when you talk about hip hop, you're going to speak about me in the ranks, and now you can't speak about hip hop without speaking about Kanye. That's the truth.
It really got me thinking. Like I was watching, I'm like, yo, Kanye may be weird right now, now, but
but that, you
like,
can't take away his drive, his belief, his
like right now you truly can't take anything away from. And I highly suggest y'all go watch this thing on Netflix.
Real,
When it's on Netflix, it's 3 episodes, or I think it's called Jeen-Yuhs or something like that. And also me watching the documentary, it's like despite everything he is doing right now, I kind of had a little bit of a different perspective because some people may be looking at him saying that he's going crazy, but I also look at it as a way to stay relevant.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like a fine line because so many people be like, yo, he doing all this stuff for attention, and I think he is. He
I
is.
think part of him definitely.
But
It's just
I
the way
think that's
that-
what makes him the genius.
Yeah.
Because you look
We're still
at,
talking about it. We talking about it.
Like,
we are literally talking about it right now.
and let me like I read Rick Ross' book, Perfect Day to Boss Up. So if you like to read, I also recommend that too. Great book. Rick Ross, A Perfect Day to Boss Up. Rick Ross, and you probably didn't know this, but Rick Ross went to link up with Yeezy. One day they was doing some business endeavor or whatever, and they was talking about it was when he was doing his campaign for presidency or whatever, Make America, whatever the heck was going on. And Rick Ross was just like, that's when he realized that a lot of the stuff that he's do is not because it's truly who he is or what he wants to do, but he understands that to be relevant in the game and to become a billionaire, that's the trend. People like trendy stuff. So when you do stuff that's not likable, or when you do something that a lot of people may not agree with, it's like, that's smart. So I think that right there alone is another message in itself too. It's like, sometimes I don't want to drive nobody to say like, do crazy stuff, but in the entertainment industry, that's important.
Yeah, it is.
That's truly important. Kanye could drop an event right now. Everybody going. So it's like, at what point is Kanye really cut off? You know what I'm saying?
Not.
He's never cut off.
He's not.
You feel me? So I think it's just a lot of hidden messages, and that was one of them. You know, just him being driven. And there was one scene in specific that got me a little emotional. I don't know why, but it was when Pharrell, he went to the studio with Pharrell, and he played Through the Wire. When he played Through the Wire, Pharrell ran out the joint.
He ran out the door. He ran out.
And at that point, I was just happy for Kanye, bro, because I love seeing people like really, like he literally went to every artist playing music, and to see like that type of reaction, it had a spot in my heart for real. It was like, damn, like this is really what you get when you work your butt off. You know what I'm saying? So like, I think that message in itself of just keep going and don't stop. I think that's very important for the people who are listening and watching. Is like, you could think whatever you want to think about Kanye West, but one thing I could tell you is like, you can never knock him for his hustle, his dedication, and him just wanting to be the best at everything.
That's what I was gonna say too. He literally said, "I'm not the best producing rapper. I'm gonna be one of the best rappers," and now he is. He said, "I'm gonna be the best dressed rapper." Now he got a brand. He got a line out that made him the richest. Like, this man is thriving right now. So yes, he's doing the crazy stuff in the media, but it's keeping him relevant. Like, you can't take away from it.
You can't take away from him because it's just like, I can't see that but it's crazy because when I watched the documentary too, it's like, I can't see that being no other artist. Like, I don't think any other artist could have gotten through or done or lived that life that he did. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I feel like that was specifically meant
of confidence,
for Kanye.
A different level of thinking, a different way of, like, he thought different than everybody in the world. Like, he could literally sit here and we could have a conversation and he could say some stuff and you were like, what?
I was
but he's saying the same thing it's just the way he says it is so different. Like, I think he just thinks so different.
He does. Like, I really wonder what it's like to have a convo with him, you know? To really talk to him. And
I feel like I'd be lost. But
it's
just like, it's still Kanye.
I'm sitting there listening, I'm like, dang, yo, he just talking. You know what I'm saying? But another thing I kind of want to address, because I think this is a big thing as well, especially what's going on right now, is speaking about the documentary, Cootie was the cameraman, right? And I think this could kind of relate to real life situations because oftentimes as we grow, we get more successful, we separate. You know what I'm saying? And to kind of see Cootie and Kanye kind of part ways slowly but surely. You know what I mean? I think that's another message in itself. Like, you know, you may start with people and you may glow up and you may, you know, accomplish so many things, but, you know, in due time, that separation is going to come. And I mean, they still good friends, you know, obviously, but, you know, he was somehow hurt that he wasn't able to be with Kanye, you know, for the long part. So, but I want to talk about specifically for that, and that message alone is like, look, you grow apart from people. And it's not to say that y'all gotta hate each other or not be friends, but naturally in life, as you elevate, as you grow, as you get more busy, you got a job, you got a career, you still have your loved ones, you still got your friends, you still got your circle, but due to certain circumstances, y'all just naturally drift apart. And I think that was a message in itself too, just kind of seeing Cootie naturally drift away and not being able to record for his day one anymore because he wanted to work with real producers, he wanted to work with real cameramen to really get the visuals and stuff like that. So that right there to me was like, man, that's another message, because this is somebody that's been recording you for 21 years. 22 years. And it's like, y'all don't have that connection anymore. But I don't think it's because Kanye just said, oh, well, you know, F you, or I don't want to work with you no more. It's just, he got hectic. He got busy. He blew up. But
I think I had a kind of different perspective on that, because I feel like, at first, I feel like, okay, you know, when he said, you know, I want to do it different, I want to do a video with a bigger producer, because, you know, he was a bigger production. Definitely understand that. I think the part that got me was when he came and was recording for Common. And now we in the same room and you're not speaking to me, or like I'm recording the whole room and now you tell me I got my camera away, when like this is what we did. Like so I would understand. I understand the parts where, like, you know, they just naturally go apart because, you know, it's a bigger scale that I'm being seen on now. So I understand that. So, but it's also not to say that you can't bring those people along with you. I think for Cootie, I would be hurt as Cootie because, you know, you got big, and of course I completely understand that, because sometimes you grow and you need bigger production, you need bigger this, you need bigger that. But you also could have brought him along so he could learn those bigger things and be that bigger thing with you or for you. I think the part that just got me was when he was like, oh, put the camera there, you can't record.
But I think, but it's also like, I mean, granted, he did say put the camera down. So, I mean, I do understand you're a bigger artist now, probably a lot more liabilities. Like, it's a lot. Some people might not want to be in camera. But I feel like he still put him in position, because you think about all of the people he's been working with post Kanye, right? You know, Common and a lot of these other people and production people that's reaching out to him to do their stuff. True. That wouldn't happen if he was never seen recording Kanye. So it's like, unintentionally, he puts you in position because you're getting all of these people reaching out to you. Yo, come shoot my tour, come do this. So I think that's what kind of, you know, knocked off that perspective of, you know, put your camera down. Because it's like, he could have been a little bit more nice about it, but it's like, I still put you in position. You know what I mean? It's not like I just left you because you was working with me, so you got bigger connects. But I definitely get your point of, like, why do I got to put the camera down? Because you know this is what we do. You know I'm probably still shooting a documentary, so it's like, why do I got to just, like, all of a sudden just switch it up? You know what I mean?
I think in regards to that, I think, you put me on. So in the business aspect, I'm good, right? That's completely okay. I'm good in the business aspect, but the thing is, they were friends before that. So the fact that, like, who could even say that? He said, yo, like, I didn't have a number for Kanye for 6 years.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I tried to reach out to Kanye for 6 years, and he just didn't return no calls. He didn't speak to me. So I think in that's where I can't get my head wrapped around.
That's
like,
crazy.
Like the point where you feel like you gotta, like, you just completely stop talking to him. Okay, now working for you, put the camera down. Okay, cool, whatever. But if we were friends outside of this, then why can't we remain, like, why can't we speak?
Why can't we speak?
For 6 years? Like, I can't get in touch with you for 6 years. But I think that also came from him kind of losing it. Because if you think about it, in the documentary, when he started being around Cootie again, is when he started getting back his mental. He started being okay. Like, he was, because
he had his main crew.
So I think that's another thing. Like, Kanye, when he lost his mom, okay, I lost the main person. Now, his way of coping with it was to go out and lash out in public. Now he lost Cootie. Now I'm really, like, those are the two people I was really with. Cootie and, who was it? Cootie and...
It was Cootie and, what's his name? I forget his name.
I can't forget his name, but it was two, it was Chike or something. I think Chike.
Chike, yeah, probably.
So now it's like the three main people who was there that's who he was with. Like, before Kanye got put on, that's who he was with. So now he got, like, all the industry people. Now he got the everything else in his ear. He's missing that the real home aspect. He's missing the real life aspect where he had the people who really gave it to him real raw and uncut.
And I think that goes to show, like, it's really crazy how much of an impact, you know, your crew really does have on you. Because, you know, you speaking about it, you know, you being away from your main clique for all them years, and you kind of doing all this crazy stuff. You know, Cootie talking about, you know, it's hard to watch him on television. You know, all this craziness going on. And deep down, it's like you knew if you was there, a lot of this wouldn't happen because you knew you would be able to keep him sane mentally. So I could only imagine, what that would have felt like for Coodie. You know what I mean? So I think, being Coodie, I know that had to have a little effect on, just him and his relationship with Kanye, because no matter how big I was to get personally, it's like I'm going to always remember my day ones regardless.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And I think everybody should, but to kind of see like how they just drifted apart, it's like, damn, like this is really what fame and success do sometimes, for you. Sometimes they make you forget, what home is, to really be able to kind of come back after all them years and kind of put him in place. And I don't know if you probably remember the scene, but when they was driving to, they took this trip out to, I forgot where it was, but they went to go see this manufacturer. He was on the phone with his dad.
With the bowl, the bowls
and stuff. And they was in the car. He was on the FaceTime with his dad. And you remember Coodie had said something. I forgot what he said.
He said,
but Kanye snapped. He was like, yo, that's my pops. Like, yo. I'm like, bro, I know you never met your pops, but why was that so aggressive?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, like you going crazy right now. So to see that, it's like time definitely does change things. And the message in that itself is like, just really understand that you grow apart from people. You know what I mean?
It's not a bad thing. Sometimes you just really do.
And it's not a bad thing. Just understand that, things do happen for a reason. That's something that Coodie was saying a lot.
Yeah.
Things happen for a reason.
Because look,
so
at the end of the day, no matter what they went through, how many years they didn't speak. Like now they cool again, and Coodie just released the documentary. Who knows what he made off of this? So like, it's crazy. Like it sucks that he probably in those years where it sucked that he didn't have Kanye there, or he couldn't be by Kanye's side for everything, or like experience the bigger moments once Kanye made it. But everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
He stayed home with his family. Like Coodie had a child. He took care of his child. He was able to document his child. Things like that. So it's like everything literally the whole time where he was like, me and Kanye we weren't cool no more, but I went to go do this thing for Common, and now I'm back and I get to spend my dad's birthday with him. So like literally everything lined up for them to be in the moment they are now. And I mean, I don't think Coodie, he probably wouldn't change it.
No,
he probably wouldn't change it for the world.
But I think it really needed to happen, though, at least for them, just to kind of really see that and really have that time apart to really make them realize how much they really do need to kind of still have that connection in some way, shape, or form, because home is always where the heart is, bro. Like, they from Chicago, they close, they both came up together, they always gonna have that relationship. But something I definitely want to pick your brain on, well, not pick your brain, but really I'm just curious to know, so this whole let's talk about let's talk about currently now. Let's actually talk about what's going on. Talk about the documentary a little bit. See, all that's cool, but let's talk about what's happening right now. Like, I know what's going on right now with him, Kim Kardashian, whatever the case may be. I understand she wants to divorce, and I think, and to each his own, I don't know what goes on behind closed doors or whatever the case may be. But Kanye is also going crazy in regards to the social media stuff, the posting, and all this. So, like, what's your take on that? Do you think that she made the right decision? I mean, we would never know because we don't know what's going on. But do you think that there's a lot more to what's really going on?
I think there's a lot more to it because from watching the documentary, we know that Kanye is a very strong-minded individual who thinks about things very differently. Just from analyzing that and from not knowing who she is because we don't know her, but like from seeing who she was as a person on reality TV, I just think that it probably got to a point where it was like, yo, like we have two different ways of thinking. We have two different ways of reaction. Like, because even when they first got together, I don't know if you remember, when they first got together, a lot of media was saying like, yo, this is a disaster waiting to happen. Yeah, like this is the odd couple, is a disaster waiting to happen. So I think probably within a relationship, it probably got to a point where they probably wasn't seeing the same way. Thinking the same way, having the same mindset. They could have had two different ways of raising their children, which from social media right now, that's what it seems like. And I feel like that could definitely put a hit on a relationship. If you have a child involved and you got two different ways of bringing that child up, then that is like a disaster. And they have, 4 or 5 kids together?
They do?
I think it's 4.
I think it's 4, actually. It's North, Chicago,
Saints.
And I think that's it. North Chicago scene.
Is it West? No.
Didn't they just have one? Oh no.
It's either whatever it is. It's like 4. Yeah, it's like I think it's 4. It's 4. Probably 4.
So all in all, do you think that Kanye needs help now?
I think that yes.
Yeah.
I think yes because
in what way?
I feel like So a lot of people say, okay, so it's a weird. It's like a yes and a no because I think Kanye has good intentions with things.
Yeah.
I think that the thing that we as a society can't wrap our head around is the fact that he's going to say it.
Got you.
So like we think things. We think a lot of things, but we won't say it out in public because it might not be morally correct, or people might perceive it a certain way. So we might find a different way to say it. Cause he ain't gonna say it exactly how he think. And I think that's why a lot of people says he needs help, because he's gonna say it, and maybe he needs the help on the way he says it. But I mean, sometimes you just can't water down the way people think or the way people want to talk. So I mean, I'm not a person that's gonna. So I don't fully support the way he does things. But I also understand that he's just different.
He's just different. Yeah.
He just has a different way of thinking, of speaking, of. It's just different, so it's hard to say he does. I mean, I think he does need help. Just because if that was a person that was around me, I wouldn't be able to be around you, because it's just a lot to deal with. Like we already know that he's bipolar. He says that he takes medicine for it.
Anxiety too, right?
Yeah, bipolar, anxiety. It's a lot of things.
It's a lot of stuff.
So I mean, I think he needs help, but I think it all goes back to so many things that he never dealt with.
Yeah.
So if he did, I mean, he probably is getting help. We don't know, but I just think that it's so more.
Just the way he go about stuff.
It's the way he goes about it. I really think.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
The biggest thing.
I definitely agree, and kind of you saying like the way he says certain things, that brings me back to that same point where Cootie was saying that not Cootie, his dad was telling him that he needs to get help writing
exactly
what he says, because
and he don't think he does, because he wants to say it exactly how he thinks.
Exactly. So I don't think it's a thing of. I don't know. I feel like Ye know what he doing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like
he's not dumb.
Saying he need help. Like he's not tripping. He's not dumb. He's just doing things that are not ordinary. Yeah. That's not appealing to the public eye. So I mean, when it comes to his mental health issues in terms of anxiety and bipolar stuff, like yes, get professional help.
Yeah.
I don't think that anybody who is not credible enough to help you with those disorders, you can't get help from any of those people. So no matter what family you got, what support system you have, you need to get professional help.
Exactly.
But outside of that, I think that what he's doing is genius. I do, because he's staying relevant. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's still packing out his events. He's, he dropping all of this music. It ain't the same, by the way. I don't like his new music. Yeah, I'm not a fan of it, but people still get.
The Wire was that.
Facts, right?
I miss those days.
He's still getting his streams. He's still he in the fashion game now. Like Yeezy brand alone is making him a fortune. So he know what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? He know what he's doing. I just feel like to the public, we just got to stop looking at it from a. Just a one-sided perspective.
There's so many other line things.
Like he's just a very different person.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring up a very controversial topic, right? So that I think this is one thing that started a lot of things. It was like this, and it was just like a domino effect. This man said that slavery was a decision, right? So I think what he wanted to say was, with the time, the people of this society today, you couldn't make them slaves,
right?
Because we're gonna rebel, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. I think so. What he was saying in his head, what he wanted to say, but he just thought about the first thing that came to his head, he let it out, was. I don't even. It's hard to explain it because it's so deep and it's so controversial. I think that he didn't have bad intentions with saying that. Yeah, he just did not say it.
Yeah, but I agree with that though. I low-key agree.
The slavery was a decision.
Yeah, because if you, the way you was about to explain, I think I know how you was about to explain it.
I think so. I don't agree with the way he said it.
I don't agree with the way he said it
because that just made it seem like the people our ancestors were very strong.
They were very strong. Yeah.
They weren't educated. That's what it is. Education.
Exactly.
So they didn't have the education. So now it's easy to say that was a decision that they made because they weren't educated. Now with the way that we live, we saw what they went through. So it's easy for us to say, oh, I would have did this because hindsight is 2020.
It was a very ignorant statement for him to make, of course, because obviously it should have been better. But if he got it off the way that he meant to get it off,
it would have resonated way better.
So I think that really is facts because you do think about some of the stuff that we did go through, ancestors and etc. to today. We're not allowing that to happen. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
A lot of people these days, you gotta kill me.
Yeah, we're not letting none of those things happen. And since we're talking about it, it's a hot topic that kind of goes into Black Lives Matter movement. I mean, I know this is off Kanye, but you kind of look at what's been happening to us for the past couple years or whatever the case may be, and you see how we've been going crazy with the rioting and the protesting. I think the thing is just nothing's gonna change. You know what I mean? So regardless of what entertainer or what famous person endorses it, I just feel as though we're in a bad situation. Now, that could be very tricky in itself. Like, people could take that and say, oh, I don't agree. But to me, I feel like nothing's going to change, for real. Because ultimately, we want the bigger change to happen, but we still need change amongst us.
Yeah. You
know what I'm saying? So it's like, before we can even ask for that type of change, it's like, what about us, though? We still doing, you know, a lot of craziness. So that's a crazy topic. So all in all...
The only thing I'm going to say about that, though... Because I get, like, we do need to change within ourselves before we can change the world. But I will say that the difference is we, as people, we will hold each other accountable for the things we do, right? So in our generation, in our society, somebody do something crazy, we're going to hold them accountable, we're going to talk about it. Or you do something's going to happen. Some kind of consequence is going to come from your actions. I think the difference is with what we go through in the world is it makes us so angry because we got to deal with the things that we go through. But when they do things, or we're not going to get specific because it's not, you know, it's not the topic at hand, but they don't have to deal with those same consequences. So it's like, I think that's the difference between why we have to fix within ourselves, but also why the world needs to change. Because, we got to fix within ourselves, but we also, when we don't do things that we're supposed to do, something happens out of it.
Consequences a little different. Yeah, for sure.
So, I mean, I think that's why it takes such a bigger like turn when we go through the things we go through, because like, come on, like we don't have to go through this stuff. Like, it doesn't have to be like this, but you know, the biggest thing is, right, and I've been saying this for years, I think the issue that we have is because, and this might get very controversial.
Cool. I mean,
we're on a podcast, we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it. And this is the honest thing, and I don't think anyone can disagree with me. So I'm gonna speak on white people versus, you know, the race thing. A white person, not the everyday white person, but some the older white people, they treat us this way because they're scared of what they know we can do. So they have to suppress us because they know if we become the majority, it's over. They're scared of what they've done to us before, so they have to treat us the way they're treating us now. They know, well, oh shoot, like that's like, yo, if you had somebody that you treated bad when you was a kid, when you grow up, if they're a bigger person when you grow up, you don't want to be around them because you know, like, yo, listen, like, when I was a kid, I used to, hey, that's the truth. Like I feel like that's the truth.
Facts, man, and I think that's a great. We definitely gonna talk a lot about that moving forward, because that can start a whole nother.
Oh, that's what I said. I don't want to go too deep into it, but I had to get that out there. I'm talking about it.
But you know, we're gonna wrap it up shortly. But last few things is real quick. So not what advice, but what are 3 things, if you could think about it, 3 life lessons that you just learned from, you know, Kanye's documentary, or just Kanye in general? Like, I know for me, one of the things that I've learned is just be yourself, right? And I think, you know, because and I think not just as an entertainer or a celebrity, but just anybody listening, right? Regardless of what you do, you know, you got to be you. You know what I'm saying? Like, one thing I can say about Kanye West is that regardless of who was around, who wasn't supporting him, who was supporting him, whatever the case may be, Kanye did what the hell made Kanye happy, and he did what he wanted, and he got very far doing that. You know what I'm saying? So
for sure,
one of my things would definitely be yourself. You know what I'm saying? Be yourself with everything that you do, and understand that, look, you just got to believe in you to really make a lot of things happen. So that's one of mine. What would you say as a takeaway? Or just one thing. We kind of just piggyback off of like what we think, but that's one of my life lessons for sure. Just be you.
That's right there. It was like, okay, so I think the fact that he, like you said, he always stayed true to himself. I don't even like that was. I think that was the biggest. That was the biggest one coming out of that was the fact that, like, literally. Matter of fact, okay, I'm gonna give her another one. Since you did get that, I'm gonna say, no matter how many no's you get, if this is what you want to do, if you're passionate in whatever it is, keep going. Like for me, I have many different things I've stepped into, and sometimes I don't take myself as serious as I should, or I don't give myself the credit that I should have. Like one thing Kanye did was he always gave himself credit. Like even when he was talking to his mom, he was sitting on the steps. He gave himself credit. He told his mom, he said, "Yo, good job for raising me."
Word.
Like, that's the truth.
Facts.
Like, I think, me specifically, I need to learn how to give myself the credit for what I do. Like, I'm great at what I do. I'm great at making logos. I am great at putting together an outfit and now drawing it out. I'm great at taking a picture or editing it. It's things you got to tell yourself you're great at doing so that you can be great at doing
Facts.
it. Because if you don't believe in yourself, then who gonna believe in you?
That's a good one. I'm not gonna lie, that's a good one.
Who gonna believe you if you don't believe in yourself?
And I think that's crazy because just yesterday I was having a conversation with somebody. We was just talking, and they was asking like, how the podcast going and all that stuff, and I'm just like, yo, it's not where it needs to be. I mean, it's not where it's gonna get to yet. But I just was telling her like, I'm so proud.
Yeah.
Like,
you gotta be proud of your work.
I'm proud of it, bro. Like, to really sit here and learn the craft of podcasting and editing and all of this stuff, it made me feel good. You know what I mean? And not worrying about the monetization, the money and all of that.
Because whether you got 5 listeners, or 15 listeners, you got to know that I'm doing what I want to do. So whether I have 6 photo shoots lined up next week, or if I got 2, this is what I want to do. I have to be proud of my work. I have to be proud of what I want to do. So I think that's the biggest thing that I took out away from.
That's a great one. Definitely give yourself credit, and this is stuff that we giving y'all too, to the listeners and stuff. Like, give yourself credit for everything that you do. Right? No matter how big or small. Pat yourself on the back. You know what I'm saying? Be your own biggest supporter, and obviously be yourself. And I think another one, I can't even think of 3. I think it's just but so much. But the next one I would say, life lesson for me is kind of going back to the circle is, have your core group, man, and cherish them. You know what I'm saying? Like, to be able to kind of, and it's crazy because when we looked at this documentary, it's like they was together all the time, but we didn't really see too much of the things that they did behind the camera, off camera. Like, you just see him recording, but I can only truly imagine what it was like for them to off screen. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And just his whole circle.
The dynamic,
You know what I'm saying? So it's like we only saw the recording and him talking and narrating, but I could only imagine what their friendship was really like for him and his crew off the camera. You know what I'm saying? So to another life lesson I would take is just really cherish your loved ones. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you have people who really has your best interests at heart, is cherish them, man. You know what I mean? Because no matter how much time y'all gotta separate or y'all be apart from each other, I know that there's a handful of people that when I get in a room with them 10 years later, it's like we didn't miss.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
And those are the friends that I cherish, because I'm a person, I might not call you every day.
Exactly.
I might not call you every day, and that's the truth. I don't even call my own grandmother every day. Well, I'm not gonna call, so I think that's always been a big thing for me. I love a friend who I can not speak to for 2 months and then
be good.
I see you next month, and it's like nothing ever happened. So that definitely is big for me too.
Cherish our people, man. Yeah. Honestly, cherish our people, and I think that's really what I took just from the whole thing. Just Kanye being him. Tapping into the entertainment industry. I'm not really too in deep into the entertainment industry, but I just know that watching that documentary alone, it taught me a lot about how the music game is, but more importantly, the messages that Kanye sent, man. You know? And it's crazy because, again, it was raw footage, so of this is indirect. It's indirect messages.
Nothing was going back. Nothing was like, oh, we're reenacting it now. It was literally everything.
Raw footage.
Everything was like real.
I mean, so I think we kind of gave everything. We're going to kind of wrap it up shortly, but real quick.
I got one more thing. I got one more thing.
Yeah,
I got one more thing. So another thing I think I took from that was, don't let anybody, society, your friends, your family, anyone around you put you into a box. Right? So he came out, he was a producer. He wanted to be a rapper, so he became a rapper. He said, I want to make clothes. He has his foot in everything that he wanted to do. Society literally told him, this is what you are. You are a producer. No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm Kanye West, and I want to do all of these things, and I'm going to do it. So I would say, do not let anybody put you into a box. If it's things that you want to do, whether you have someone's support right to today or tomorrow, it don't matter. As long as you're going to keep on going with what you want, it's going to come. As long as you put your heart and your soul into it, whatever you want to happen is going to come. He ran for president, bro. No political background.
Bro ran for president.
When he said that, I said, no, he's a joke, bro. But that's what he wanted to do.
It just shows that whatever you put your mind to, bro, like president.
No matter how he thought people was going to take it, he said, I'm going to do it. Like, I'm for president, bro. You don't have a political background. You're for president. But neither did Donald Trump.
That's crazy.
It's
Kanye the
crazy.
GOAT, man. All I'm going to say, though, is after watching that is Kanye is definitely, I'm a fan. You know what I mean? Just from seeing you know, him growing up and like his story, like that, it all makes sense for me. Just seeing his story, huge fan. So again, if y'all didn't watch it, it's on Netflix. It's called Jeen-Yuhs. Y'all probably see it pop up right on the screen. But again, this is episode 3. You want to leave any last remarks for the family or any comments? Or get them your social media. How can they stay up to par with you? Contact info. Like,
so social media, I'm on Instagram, Twitter, _ Shea Picasso. So ShaePicasso. Instagram and Twitter. I gotta get more consistent with my content. I gotta get more consistent with my content, but I am on there. Follow me. And honestly, we gotta keep this discussion going. Let me know. Because it was a lot of things. Like, listen, I was watching the documentary and it got to a point where like I was watching it and I pulled out my phone and I started taking notes because it was that good. Like, so like it's so many points that we weren't able to touch on because if we touched on every point, we would be here all night. But it was a great documentary.
We got a lot more coming. So yeah, if you like this episode, you know, please feel free to subscribe, download, rate, you know, click the like button. And more importantly, comment below, right? Comment some questions, feedback. We respond. I'm going to respond to every comment. You know, I'm not going to just not, you know, respond. I like to know what the listeners are thinking and the viewers. So please, you know, rate all of that good stuff. So catch us next episode. We see y'all soon. BTL Podcast. We out.
We out. Thank you for watching.
Man. Thank y'all for watching.
Thank you for having me.
Of course,
my brother, I love you.
We here.
Co-Host
Let's run it.